Black Beauty, Chapter 1. In the beginning. When I was very young, my life was glorious happy. I galloped with other colts, but day and by day and slept by my mother's side at night. But when I was 4 years old, a man named Squire Gordon came to talk to my master, the horse breeder. He stroked my black coat and the white star on my forehead. Beautiful, he exclaimed. Break him in and I'll buy him. Then he touched the white patch on my head. I like a beautiful spot, he said. I'll call him Black Beauty. I shook with fear. I was going to be sold. Would I have to leave my mother? And what was break-in? You must learn to wear a saddle and bridle, my mother exclaimed. Then the groom thrust a cold steel bar into my mouth and held it there, with straps over my head and under my throat. There was no escape. Just before was taken to Squire Gordon. My mother spoke to me for the last time. Now, Black Beauty, she whispered, be brave. All young horses must leave their mothers to make their way in the world. Just remember, never bite, rear or kick. And whatever happens, always do your best. When Squire Gordon's groom arrived, he jumped on my back and we rode away. I cantered through twisty village until we reached a dry apple orchard stretched out on either side. A fat little pony was a little thick mane and tail was poking his head over the rail. I'm Merryleg, he said. Welcome to Birtwick Park. That was John who rode you here, Merryleg went on. He's best groom around, and Squire Gordon is the best owner a horse could ever have. You'll be happy here. A last chestnut mare reared at Merryleg's leg. Trouble it. No one knows how long a good home will last, she snapped. I've had more homes than you've had hot oats. Meet Ginger, my said Merryleg. She bites. That's why she keeps getting sold. Even though she is so handsome. Angrily, Ginger tore a wisp of hay in her manger. You don't know anything, she muttered. If you'd be true what I have, you would buy too. Poor Ginger, I thought. What could have made her so unhappy? Chapter 2. Ginger's Story. Over the next few days, John took me out. At first, we went slowly, then we trotted and cantered and ended up in a wonderful, speedy gallop. Well, John, how is my new horse? Said Squire Gordon. First rate, sir, said John, grooming me carefully. Black beauties as swift are a deer, as gentle as a trove, and as safe as horses. A lady horse, perhaps, asked Squire's wife, feeding me pieces of apple. Oh, yes, Mr. Gordon, he be a good carriage horse too. We could try him out with Ginger, John suggested. So I was paired up with Ginger to pull the carriage. During our journey, she told me the story of her life. If I'd had you upbringing, I might be good-tempered like you. She began. My first memory is of the stone being thrown at me. Poor you, I said. But Ginger hadn't finished, and my first owner broke me in. He shoved a painful bit in my mouth. She went on. I ran up in pain, and he fought me with his whip until blood poured from my flank. And then he cut off my tail. What? I cried. I noticed Ginger has no tail, but thought she must have lost it in an accident. Fashion, Ginger replied bitterly. Some people think horses look better with a stump. How I have nothing to whisk flies away with, she sighed. It's ungodly when they crawled on me and string. Horrible, I snored. That's not all. My first owner sold me to a rich London gentleman who put me in a boring inn. What? I asked. It's a tie train that pull you a neck and the way back. I imagined your tongue pinched, your jaw jerked upright, and your neck on fire with pain. Everyone thought I look wonderful, but oh, how it hurts. Kindness wins us, not painful whips, said Ginger. But when we are lucky here, she said. At last, Squire Gordon hates bearing greens, and John is teaching young Joe, our new groom, to be just as good as he is. And I'm trying to behave now because everyone's so kind. Chapter 3. Horse know best. Soon after this, Mr. Gordon fell ill. We didn't see her for a week. Then, one stormy night, John rushed to the stable. Best foot forward. Beauty, he cried. We must ride as hard as we could to fetch the doctor. Mrs. Gordon is at death's door. We galloped into lashing rain, while thunder and lightning raked around us. Leaves and twigs danced in the air, torn from their branches by a savage wind. As we got to the main road, a terrible splintering sound crashed through the darkness. A huge tree had fallen in our path. Gathering all my strength, I jumped and sailed over it. At last we reached the bridge. I could hear the river roaring, but the moment I stepped on the bridge, I stopped. Come on, Beauty, John urged. I couldn't move. I could tell something was wrong. John gave me a light touch of the whip, but I stayed like a statue. Just then the moon lit up the bridge. We saw the far end had grasped into mud sticks, tossing in the rugging water. Well done, Beauty, John cried. We could have been killed, but I'm afraid it's 10 miles to the next bridge. He had to hurry. Gallop and get there, I murmured to myself. Gallop and get there. The faster I said it, the faster I went. I raced home with both John and the doctor on my back. I'd never been so tired in my life. You're streaming like a kettle, said young Joy. You're too hot for your blanket. Here, have some ice water. All through the night, I shivered and sweated and longed for John to come. When he arrived, he was horrified. Joy, you've nearly killed Beauty, he shouted. He's caught a bad chill. You should have put on his blanket, and that icy drink did him no good at all. I didn't know, Joy murmured sulkily. Didn't know, yelled John. You should make it your business to know. I If you don't know, asked. I'm sorry, wept Joy. I didn't mean to hurt him. With careful nursing, I recovered, but Joy never forget the lesson he had learned. Chapter 4. A terrible time. Mr. Gordon got better too, but the doctor said she must live in the sun to be really well. Goodbye, Ginger. Everything was to be sold. Borthwick Park. Merleg, Ginger and me. Merleg went to Frist. We said goodbye under the apple tree where we had talked and played so happily and never saw Merlegs again. Ginger and I were sold to the Lord and Lady Richmore. John had tears in his eyes when he handed us over the ribbon our new grooms. Next day, Lord and Lady Richmore came to inspect us. They looked very nice. Ribbon, announced little Lady Richmore. They can put my carriage, but you must put their hands up high. Squire Gordon never used a bearing rein. Lord Moore behind reminded her. Well, I won't have horrible, common-looking horse, snapped Lady Richmore. Ribbon, pull my head back and fix the rein tight. I felt red hot pain. Ginger tried to jerk her head away, but Ribbon forced her rein like mine. Instantly, I saw why Ginger hated it. I couldn't put my pulling the carriage. As the strength drained out of us, Ribbon whipped up on. At last, we came to a grand courtyard, crammed with horses and carriages. Ginger couldn't take it anymore. With a wild cry, she ran up, scaring all the horses, who crashed into each other, kicking madly. Our carriages toppled over and broke to pieces. Lady Richmore tumbled out unharmed but furious. Ginger was taken away forever. I longed to know what happened to her, but no one mentioned her name again. I didn't trust Ribbon, he urged politely to Richmore's, but secretly he drank too much. One evening he took me out for a ride on a road made of freshly sharp stones, but my shoe was loose, but ribbon was too trunk to notice. He never heard the crack guilt of my shoe falling off. The cracker of my shoe falling off, I didn't think he ever noticed me limping. My hoof split and I couldn't help it. I fell onto my knee, ribbon shot to the ground, hit the head on the cobble and laid there, not moving. I stayed with ribbon all through the night. When the morning dawned, a group of earlier walkers came by. They were shocked at the sight of us. "That's ribbon," they shouted. "That poor bloke, thrown by that horse. We gave his blood. That'll be the end of him." No one knew what really happened, and what would they do to me now? Chapter 5. Lesson in a Life in a Puzzle. Life is a puzzle. I'm going to sell that bad-tempered Black Beauty to any fool who wants him, Lord Richmond announced. I was sorry for Reuben, but I couldn't help being still to be leaving Lord and Lady Richmond. I was put into a horse sale. Buyers prodded me and stared at me, but no one wanted me. "Isn't he ugly with those nasty knees?" I heard someone say. Finally, a kind-looking man paid a small sum of money for me and took me away. The man's name was Jerry Baker, and he lived in London with his wife and children, Harry, and his twins, Polly and Molly. "I want you to be my cab horse," Jerry told me. "I'll call you Jack." It was strange to have a new name. My job was to be harnessed to Jerry's carriage, which he called his cab, and picked up passengers when they hailed up in the street. We worked hard out all day in all weather, rain, shelter, snow, and ice, with hardly any rest. I didn't mind anything because Jerry was such a kind, honest man. I wanted to to do my best for him. He made sure I was always comfortable and had plenty of food. He never wiped me to go fast, even if customers in a hurry bribed him with extra cash. You'll never be rich, the other cab drivers jeered. I have enough, thanks, Jerry replied. It's not fair on Jack to make him hurry at the time other horse weren't so lucky. I often saw them exhaust it and miserable made old before. That time with too much work. Once I saw an old worn out chestnut with a thin neck and bones that stuck out through a bad kept coat. Its eye had a dull, hopeless look. I was wondering why the horse looked faintly familiar when I heard a whisper. Black Beauty, is that you? It was Ginger. Her beautiful looks had completely vanished. She told me she belonged to a cruel driver who wiped her stream and her wiped her, stripped her, and overworked her. You used to stand up for yourself if people were mean to you, I said. Yes, I did once, but now I'm too tired, she replied. I just wish I could die. No, Ginger, I cried. Keep going. Better time will come. I hope they do for you. Black Beauty, she whispered. Goodbye and good luck. So after that meeting, I saw a cart carrying a dead chestnut horse. It was a dreadful sight. I think it was Ginger. I almost hope it was, for that meant her suffer was over. Chapter 6. Unexpected ending. One day, a customer of Jerry's made him an offer he couldn't refuse. She asked him to be her groom at her house in the country. There's a little cottage for you and your family, she said. I wish I could take Jack too, but I already had a horse. Sorry, old Jack, Jerry comforted me. I hope someone kind will buy you. But my new master was a cruel man. I had to put his cart loading with sack of corn, and if I was too slow, he wiped me hard. He hardly fed me either, which made me weak, and, and I simply galloped in the street. Stupid horse, my master groaned. Is he dead? What a waste of money. I couldn't move, and as I lay there bare breathing, someone came up and poured water down my throat. A gentle voice said, "He's dead." Not dead, only exposed. The gentle voice belonged to a horse doctor. I could believe my luck. The doctor helped me to my feet and led me to his stable, where he gave me a warm wash. "I think you were a good horse once," said the doctor, "through your poor, broken down old things now. I'm going to feed you up and find you a nice home. Rest, good food, and gentle exercises worked on me like magic." But when the doctor said I was ready to leave him, I trembled all over. I dreaded to think what my next home would be like. Doctor took me to a pretty house in a small village. It had a pasture and a comfortable stable, and belonged to two grown-up sisters, Cray and Elbeth Leafeed. "I'm sure we'll like you," they said, patting me. "You have such a gentle face." I nudged them, but I wasn't sure I could trust them. Their groom led me to the stable and began to clean me. "That white star is just like Black Beauty's," he said, "and the glossy black coat. He is about the same height too. I wonder where Black Beauty is now." Soon he came to the tiny knot of white hairs on my back. "That's what Square Gordon called Black Beauty's patch." "It is Black Beauty. It really is. Do you remember me?" "Young John he was who nearly killed you. I've been here now for a year. Joy is always gentle. Claire and Elbeth are kind, and my work is easy. All my strength has come back, and I've never been hyped." The sisters had promised never to sell me. Finally, I found my home for every forever and ever.